5 Harvard negotiation tips your sales team probably does not know. Okay, I'll tell you why I'm saying this and why we're starting this video. We do negotiation skills training, and when there was this incident that happened last week. I was talking to the head of a business, the president of the company, and we were discussing this content on negotiation skills. And I asked him a question. He said, "What is this current behavior that the sales team is doing? And what is this new behavior that you want the sales team to do after we complete the training?" And guess what he said? Okay, what he said was that these guys do 5 minutes of negotiation with the customer and 4 hours of negotiation with me, okay, asking me to give discounts. What I want you to do is just invert this entire process and get them to do 4 hours of negotiation with the customer. That's the point that we're talking about. Right. Hi everybody. In this video, we are going to talk about 5 awesome negotiation strategies and tips that your sales team can implement. A lot of times we waste tons of lost profits, which we hand over to our customers simply because we are not able to use the right tactics, and many times we don't have the right attitude in a negotiation also. This video is valid also for procurement and purchase people who are negotiating with salespeople all the time, right? All right. My quick introduction. I'm Maneesh Konkar. We are corporate trainers. We do training programs in sales, B2B sales, B2C sales, and negotiations and leadership. We also run a digital agency where we can help you run Facebook and Google ads. And we've got plenty of online courses on all of these topics. So all the links are there in the description. You know what to do. All right, let's begin. So the first point we're talking about is many times, how do you measure whether someone is a good negotiator or not? And usually it's only the first point. Okay? This is the first point that happens to get a great deal. That's the Arial black, bold, double underline for most negotiators. We have a slight disagreement with that approach. The disagreement we're talking about is every transaction that you do, you are creating a reputation for yourself. You are creating a reputation for your company. Forget the company comes a little later. You are creating a reputation for yourself. And the way you negotiate, whether it is a short term transaction oriented approach or a long term business partnership, is an indicator of how loyal your customers are and how loyal your vendors are also. This concept works both whether you're on the selling side or on the buying side. So our goal is not just the deal. It's not just to achieve your monthly numbers. It's not just to achieve your quarterly numbers, but it is also to enhance your own reputation as a great negotiator. The point is not to be ruthless. The point is to be fair. The point is to be respectful. Okay. How do we do that? The values that we are talking about: address the others' real interest, mutual trust and respect, develop a long-term relationship. I'll tell you where we are talking about. We were working with a two-wheeler company, and this was a small two-wheeler company, and the purchase team was a group of people who had come in from Honda, from Bajaj, from all the other big two-wheeler players, and they were asked to develop vendors. And what happened was that these people had worked with Honda for almost 5-10 years in all the other companies, and when they reached out to their old vendors trying to bring them and onboard them into the new company, I mean, they used to treat their vendors like shit, and they used to put so much pressure on the vendors in the earlier companies, and the customers and the vendors used to take that pressure simply because Hero and a Bajaj would give lots of volumes. But many times, what happens is when these guys came in into the new organization, they didn't get the kind of response simply because of their behavior in the past, and many of them lost jobs simply because of their lack of relationships that they had built up despite having been in vendor development roles for upwards of 10 years. This is the point we are talking about. Your number one approach in a negotiation has to be that, yes, not only do I get a good deal, but I also build my reputation as a fair negotiator, as a great negotiator. And my approach is that every person that I'm dealing with, I want to deal with this guy for the rest of my life. Okay, that's the idea. We will continue doing business with each other for the rest of your life. Okay. So an average negotiator will do whatever it takes to close a deal. A great negotiator will do whatever it takes to maximize value in the deal. And this value is measured over the long run. All right. Let's look at the second approach. Okay. What is the typical game that people play in a negotiation? Either it is the soft approach or it is the hard approach. Let me look at the soft approach in a little bit of in some detail. So what are we talking about? We are saying, okay, what is a soft approach? A soft approach is, in North India we call this peripona. In Maharashtra, we Maharashtrians call it Khalil Lotangana. It is Hukum Malik. Your customer asks you, business kaisa hai, dhanda kaisa hai, and the sales guy will say, "Sab aapki kripa hai, sir." And this is a submissive, subservient way of negotiating. Let's understand the power equation over here. What happens when you play this game is that the other party starts feeling a little superior, and you are negotiating with the other party is negotiating with you. Nobody is doing anybody any favor over here. Sometimes the customer will be in a powerful position, sometimes the vendor will be in a powerful position, he'll be a monopoly supplier, but the point is that these things can get reversed very, very quickly. I'll give you an example. So the US was supposed to be number one in AI for quite some time, and DeepSeek came in and just destroyed that entire playbook in a matter of weeks. Suddenly, China is on par with US in terms of AI capability. You see more of PR of US happening, but suddenly you'll find that the power equations are changing all the time. So in the point we are talking about is, what exactly is the soft approach? The soft approach is participants are friends. The goal is agreement. You make concessions to to cultivate the relationship. You make offers. You accept losses to reach agreement. यार पैसा कम मिला तो चलेगा, but you know what, sir, business is important. I don't mind if I make a little less money, but business is important. By the way, because I'm an Indian, and because a lot of our video watchers are in India right now, you may hear me talking in Hindi. But I guess that we now have, for videos like this, a lot of international viewers. So don't worry, if you see a statement in Hindi, you will find the next statement will be a similar statement in English. So you're not missing out on anything. Okay, so in a soft approach, what am I doing? I am making concessions. I am making offers. I change my position easily, and I search for one single good deal which they will accept. Right? The opposite of this approach is the hard approach. What is the hard approach? The hard approach is where I make a threat. I tell my vendor, look, these are the terms on which we are doing business. If you don't agree with these terms, sir, the door is that side. There are plenty of people who are prepared to do business with you. Okay? Neither of these games works out in the long run, because if you're talking about win-win, you come across as a hard approach. Who will do business with you? The stronger players in the market will walk away. They will have contempt for your approach and they will walk away. But if you take a hard approach, who will initially say yes? It will only be people who don't have any other options, who got a huge capacity mismatch, available capacity. But 3 months later, they may end up having a lot of other orders, and that is when they will say no to you. They will simply walk away. They will not even pick up your phone call. And then after that, all the deal that you signed remained on paper. The PO terms are not honored. And these are the things that end up in legal issues. And ultimately, it is the customer also who suffers on this. So the right approach that we are talking about is an approach where you are now playing a game which is like a problem solving, solution generating approach. The goal is a wise outcome reached efficiently and amicably. You are separating the people from the problem. You are soft on the people, hard on the problem. Both of you, while your visiting card may have different companies, you are both on the same side trying to solve a common problem. And the vendor is helping the customer solve the customer's problem. In return, the customer gives the vendor a lot of business, and at the same time he makes sure that the payments are happening on time, and it's a respectful, mutually beneficial arrangement where we are inventing options for mutual gain. We are developing multiple options to choose from, and we go back and forth trying to solve the problem in a respectful manner. All right, this is point number two. That a negotiation is not a game of dominance. It's not war. This is not World War III that you are fighting over here. Okay. All right. This was point number two. Point number three is what what Harvard, what the book talks about. The book that the book that we are referring to is a book called Getting to Yes by Roger Fisher and Yuri. These were two professors at Harvard Business School, and they've written this wonderful book. This book is prescribed reading in our in the negotiation skills programs that we run for companies. And what it talks about is, okay, the third point that we love in this book is the difference between a position and an interest. So what do most negotiations happen on? Uh, the customer will say our standard payment terms are 60 days. The vendor will say no, sir, the standard payment terms we operate in on 30 days. 30 days, 60 days, 30 days, 60 days, and after some time, na tera na mera, okay, not yours, not mine. Let's just agree on 45 days. This is a silly way to negotiate. This is what is called a negotiation on positions. Each team is taking a position. Now, I'm going to play a little exercise here, and I want you to think about this. We run this as a role play in our negotiation skills workshops. So what we do is we ask for 4 volunteers from the class, and we put them into 2 groups, Team A and Team B. Now, Team A is given a briefing. At that time, Team B is asked to wait outside the room, and there are observers. The rest of the class is the observer. And the same thing we do with Team B. We call Team B inside in the second phase and ask Team A to wait outside and give Team B a briefing. And then both teams come forward into the room and do a negotiation in front of the class. The one side knows only their own side, the other side knows only their story, but the class knows both sides of the story. So here is the brief that I'm giving. I'm going to give you this brief, and I want you to introspect and think of the possible outcomes that can come through. So the first brief that is given is we have 10 oranges. Team A is told you want 10 oranges because you are hungry. So what we tell them is we make a story out of this, that you went outside, you went trekking into the mountains, and then you got lost, and then your food was you lost your packet of food because it drowned in the river, and blah blah blah, and you're very hungry, and you come back into town, and now you want this whole piece, 10 oranges. Now this team is given this brief. It is sent outside. The second team is called inside, and they are given a different brief. The brief that they are given is that you are chefs. You have a restaurant. The restaurant is not doing well. You've defaulted on your loan payments. Uh, you see an opportunity. There is a cake competition in town. Your cake is ready. You want 10 oranges to decorate the cake. That's it. Okay, this is what is given. We add a lot of masala to it, a lot of frills, and and make it into a nice long story. Hype it up, and then we call both teams across, and okay, and they start negotiating. All right. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to pause this video right now. Think of the possible solutions that you can now come out with. Now let's see, okay, what happens. Right. So pause the video. Start the video again. Now let's see what actually happens. What happens is, in some cases now, people do not even reveal their underlying interest. What we shared with you was interest. This is different from position. Position is, I want 50% advance. Position is, we will not take care of the transport arrangements. You will have to manage the transport arrangements from your side. These are positions that people take. The underlying interest is the real story behind why do I want 50% advance? Okay, why am I not able to deliver the transport arrangement package to you? Well, so the hunger team, what it does is, okay, it starts off, and then you have these breakthroughs that happen. So what happens is, sometimes the cake team, see what happens, they have a running restaurant. So the cake team offers to the hunger team, forget the oranges, you give us 10 oranges, we will give you a full-blown vegetarian thali. See what is the opportunity. Sometimes we've had a situation where we said, right now it's 12 o'clock, the cake is at competition is at 3 o'clock, give us 10 oranges, we will decorate the cake, and then after that at 3 o'clock, once the cake competition is over, you can take all the 10 oranges and you can take the cake also. Okay, that's a second possibility. See, now we are talking about addressing underlying interests. What is the underlying interest of the hunger team? Hunger. What is the underlying interest of the cake team? It wants decoration, and it wants money. Now, these hunger guys, we've seen, okay, you want money? How much money do you want? Guy says 1 lakh I have to pay tomorrow morning to the bank. Okay, done. We'll pay you 1 lakh. You give us all 10 oranges. That's a third possibility. There was one team where we did this role play where there were people listening in for some time, and one guy finally asked, if you tell me something, You want the oranges to decorate the cake. Okay. Which part of the orange do you want to decorate the cake? And the guy said, I want the peel. He said, okay, why don't you do one thing? You take 10 peels and you give us 10 oranges and we'll work it out. And that's how the solution happened. See the point we are making. The point we are making is that a great negotiator doesn't negotiate on positions. Positions bring out egos of people. Positions bring out aggressiveness in people. What is a position? My price is 1 lakh, your price is 90,000. We need to agree on something, we'll agree on 95. Okay. Uh, if we come to an underlying interest, let's say a vendor saying, look, transport, I'll not be able to manage. Maybe he doesn't have good transporters in his area. Maybe he's tried to take care of the transport responsibility, but he doesn't have the bandwidth. So if the customer can take care of the transport responsibility, no issue at all. All right. So now we are coming up to other ways of negotiating, which is negotiating on underlying interest, not on positions. Okay. So great negotiators focus on basic interest. All right. Point number 4. Tactic we'll be talking about. Many times you'll find that the customer, how does he operate? The customer's request sends a tender document out into the market, a request for proposal, gets proposals from 4 different companies. The first one is priced at $100. The second one is 105, 110, 120. $100 becomes L1, L2, L3, L4. Lowest one, lowest two, lowest three. Okay, that's how it works. Now he will call L4, L3, and L2, and he will tell them, look, you're not L1. Okay, you need to give discounts. Many times he will call L1 also and say, look, your price is too high. There are others who have quoted less, and okay, and you need to give discounts. Right? Now, lots of customers do it, but sometimes you will find some very basic lies being told. Like someone is saying, look, I'll promise you, I'll give you 5x the business that we are discussing right now, provided you give volume discounts right now. And his biodata is floating around on a job site on naukri.com. So how do you handle lying? Well, they are giving vague responses. This is what you would do. So the counter tactic to this. So what is a tactic and what is a counter tactic? A tactic is what they are doing with you. A counter tactic is how do you respond to that particular tactic. So the first question to ask yourself is, do you still want to continue? Do you want, what is your BATNA? BATNA is a Harvard term which stands for best alternative to a negotiated agreement. What is your offer? What is the alternate offer that you have? You're going for one interview, one new job interview, and you already have a job on hand. You already have one offer on hand. So the first question to ask is, do you want to continue? Uh, do you have options? Because we have seen one thing, that people who lie during negotiations are the ones who cause payment problems a little later once the service is performed. They will find some flaw in the service. So even though you think you've done a good job, they will say, no, 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 you've not done a good job or so. That's the point of thing. So the first question to ask is, do you want to actually continue? Second point would be, maybe your data is wrong. Maybe your facts are incorrect. Verify the facts. The third point, point out the behavior. And this is the way. Okay, most of the time, what happens is we don't confront dysfunctional behavior in the other side. So what is important here is that you allow them to save face, make it very respectful, but do bring out the issue. We have been negotiating in good faith with you, but now when we want to create value for both parties in our offering, but now we are a little uneasy about the way in which you have negotiated with us. So this is how you handle people who are lying in a negotiation. It does need to be handled. Do not overlook it, but this, and do not just discuss it with other people. What happens is, most of the time now, we tell our bosses, we tell our colleagues, we tell everybody except the customer who is lying with us, or the vendor who is lying with us. So how to handle lying? These are the tactics and counter tactics. In any case, allow them to save face. We are all under pressure. They also have their targets to meet. So do you. The minute people are caught lying, we've seen in 90% of the cases, they back off instantly. All right. Last point, fifth number point is what to do if you are weak. Well, how do you negotiate when you are weak? First of all, there is no reason why you should indicate that you are weak. For example, when could you be weak? You could be weak if you are operating at 20% capacity utilization and this customer may give you a 40%, an order which occupies 40% of your capacity. You're weak. You don't have too much of a pipeline on hand, and the customer has a rip off. Well, the customer need not know that you are operating on 20% uh, capacity utilization. There is no need to reveal that information. Second, focus on the BATNA of the other party. Now, what is the BATNA of the other party? So let's say you and I have been talking for the last 1 month or so. Sir, we have spent time in understanding each other's business. If you were to bring in another customer into the picture, you would have to redo all of this discussion with them, explain to them the concept. We are experts in the industry that you represent, so there is a lot of uh, lot of knowledge that we and industry experience that we already have. So it would be expensive for you to bring in another party into the picture. It would be inconvenient for you to take this action right now. Focus on the partner of the other party. Communicate your unique value proposition, submit multiple proposals. Here what happens is, many times what happens is, to win the basic order, you give we call this silver, gold and platinum. So you give your silver offering, which is your bare stripped down offering, and once you get the purchase order, you can then do value selling, and then another purchase order may. All right, so that's the idea. Code low enough to get shortlisted, and then after that you can have a lot of extra value addition that you can do. Build partnerships with other weak parties. Now, I give an example on this. So, when a large company like a large FMCG company deals with one retailer, it is like a 60,000 crore company dealing with a small entity, which is 50 lakhs or 1 crore. What happens is that these retailers form associations. So, Andheri has a retailer association, Bandra has a retailer association. These people get together, and when they are talking about when a company launches new products, that is when they squeeze their company by projecting a united front of 100 or 500 retailers in a particular market. All right. So if you've reached till here, thanks a lot. It means that you love this topic. So we've got a wonderful program on negotiation skills, which if you want your sales team to go through, give us a call. And you've also got an online course on negotiation, which you can sign up to. Both the links are there in the review. So I'm Maneesh Konkar. Thanks a lot, and I will see you in the next video.